My name's Eli Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people. All right, welcome back, everybody. Today, we have an awesome guest. I haven't had a chance to catch up with this dude for so many years. This is David Newman. He is a certified professional speaker, or certified speaking professional, a keynote speaker, the host of the podcast, The Selling Show, which is one that is always on my podcast player, which is ranked in the top 1% globally and has over 500 episodes. And his previous books are Do It Selling, Do It Speaking, and Do It Marketing, which I have all three of those in my collection. And his latest book, Marketing Eminence, 22 Strategies to Build a Bold Personal Brand and Become a Business Celebrity and Drive Unstoppable Growth, is just coming out. So we are having a fun conversation today. And David, it is so awesome to catch up with you, my friend.
Eli, it is great to be here. Thank you for hosting me.
Yeah, well, the last time we talked, it was actually, I was a guest on your show before it was The Selling Show. It was The Speaking Show. And
Right.
I'm thinking that was like 4 years ago, something like that. And we've somewhere right around there. And then we have like Facebook messages back and forth every once in a while, but we haven't had a chance to actually catch up and chat. And
this is it. So this is it. And people will get to tune in like a fly on the wall.
I was so excited about that. Now, I want to give a little bit of history before we dive into all the fun stuff. My first introduction to you, because I don't think you know this, my first introduction to you was I'm trying to remember where I was. I think I was actually visiting in Boise, and I happened to be going through a Borders bookstore. Now, if you remember Borders, like they're long gone now. I'm pretty sure that the one that was close to my house, I kept it alive for many, many years because of how much money I spent. Yeah. But I happened to be going through a Borders bookstore, and I like to peruse all the marketing books. And I saw Do It Marketing. And I picked it up. I started thumbing through it. And I was like, this looks like a pretty darn good book. I think I'm going to pick it up. And that was my very first introduction to you before we ever got a chance to get connected or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So there's a lot of history. And I don't even remember when that book came out, but I mean,
2013.
2013. So yeah, that would have been a long time ago, which is awesome. So tell me what's new and exciting with you lately, my friend.
Well, so on the business front, I've gone through quite the transformation in 2025. I used to have a big, huge team. We used to have all kinds of big things. And I have unscaled. I'm telling my friends, I have unscaled, I have descaled, and it is now me and a VA.
Okay.
And I think the important thing for your viewers and listeners is, in every aspect of life, not just business, there are pressures, there are expectations, there are these external metrics of success. So for example, in entrepreneurship, right, growth and scale and build a big team and remove yourself from the day-to-day and all of these kinds of pieces of advice. And I was doing that since 2017.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I built a big team, and we had lots and lots of clients, and it was okay, but it wasn't really me. It wasn't, I did not wake up every morning going, oh, this is great. I can't wait to go manage some people. I can't wait to go have another meeting. So I got in, like many entrepreneurs, I got into this business for the work of the work.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to lead the work. I didn't want to manage the work. I didn't want to hire and recruit and train and motivate people. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think you got to know what game you're playing. And I think you got to know what game you're good at. And for a lot of years, I wore this hat of empire builder.
Mm-hmm.
And in my soul, I was still a craftsperson, right? The craftsperson likes to get their hands dirty, likes to do the actual work of the work. No, it's not scalable. No, you're not going to hire 100 people. No, you're not going to have a $1 zillion business, but you're going to do great work, and it's going to be handcrafted, and you're going to be very involved with the direct end client, end customer. And so I've just finally gotten that into alignment. And that was a 2025 decision that I'm now living with for just about 12 months. And it has been going great.
I love that. You put so much into that. We're going to definitely dive into a lot of that stuff because I'm seeing a lot of that. I mean, I'm doing some of the same thing in different areas. I've never had a big team. My big team was when I had my web and graphic design agency, which was forever ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, anybody who knows me has probably heard the story 100 times where literally I grew it from my dining room by myself to an office with 5 employees. I'm closing 3 to 5 contracts a week. And I realized I really hated going to the office and I pretty much hated my employees as well. So I burnt the whole thing down and started over. And it's so funny because I haven't gone back to the many employees part, but I have found that this has been, we all have every time there's an economic shift as we've had multiple times these last many years.
Yeah.
Every time there's something different with it. And I think that going back to purpose is much more where we're at right now. And I'm seeing
Yeah.
that from a lot of people. So I love that you shared that story right out of the gate because it does it sets the stage for a lot of people that have been going through this whole hustle culture BS and realizing, yeah, you know what? Success looks like what you want it to look like. It's not what everybody else says.
Yes. And then another caveat on
Yeah.
that is this is also very dependent on the stage and phase of life that you're in.
Hmm.
So let's say you're in your 20s, right? And it's go, go, go time. That's great. If you're in your mid 30s, you've got small kids at home. You want these small kids to actually know what you look like and sound like. So
Right.
you're not constantly working, constantly traveling, constantly on the road. It may be time to downshift or scale back and do what you need to do. Next phase, empty nest, kids are gone, you're good for another 10 years of go, 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 go. I'm 61. So it's like, I'm good. Like if I never make another dime, I'm
Right.
okay. My financial advisor says, David, you're okay.
Nice.
So this constant chasing the next thing, this
Right.
constant got to be bigger, got to make more money, got to play the game according to someone else's rules. I think you have to understand, like, and you said it brilliantly and very succinctly, success looks different for everybody. And also, success, the picture of what that success looks like will change as you go from your
Mhm.
20s to 30s to 40s to 50s to 60s to 70s and as far as you
Right.
want to go.
Yeah, I love that. And I 100% agree with that because I mean, I remember when I was, in my 20s, I was working 17 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like my days off, I was like, I get enough. My motto was I'll get enough sleep when I'm dead.
Yes.
And we all go through that at some point, but then you realize like nowadays I'm like, yeah, no, I ain't doing that. It's
Right.
just not gonna
Right.
happen. And I just had my 52nd birthday.
Yeah.
So I'm realizing it's like, yeah, no, the life looks a lot different now than what I had before, which is cool. I love that we got to have this conversation because it's kind of fun, and I think it's something that not doesn't get talked about enough. So I appreciate you coming out here being candid with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you've gone through. I mean, you have been one of the top line speakers in NSA and most. I mean, you are at the top of the top with amazing marketing stuff as a speaker for so many years. Are you still doing a lot of the speaking stuff or are you backing off on that as well?
So it's funny, like many of our colleagues and many speakers, the pandemic sort of changed what speaking looks like.
Right.
And so a lot of stuff is virtual now, and some conferences and some meetings have either, stayed mostly virtual with a little bit of in-person mixed in. Some have gone hybrid. Very few are doing what they did before 2020, which
Okay.
is all in person all the time.
Hmm.
So for me, that's actually great. And I think for the meetings industry, it's also great because you can afford to do more. You can afford to bring people in that you
Right.
might not have been able to afford before, right? Travel costs are down, all of those things if you're doing a virtual component to
Right.
what you're doing. But right now, because the Market Eminence book is brand new, I am looking at more conferences and meetings and events where that might be an in-person event or a virtual event, but I'm paying more attention to
Okay.
my virtual and in-person speaking as opposed to the consulting work that I've always done and continue to
Hmm.
do, the coaching work that I've always done and continued to do.
Right.
But, speaking I think is the sharp tip of the arrow, where that is a one to many marketing platform for these ideas, and honestly, it's a one to many lead generation platform for these ideas. So
Right.
it's not unusual that someone hears me speak, could be a big event, small event, doesn't matter. And they say, hey, I want some of that, or I should talk to David about what it might look like to bring him in.
Right. I love that. And that's, for me, that's where speaking has always been my number one lead generation tool. So that's
Yes.
why I love doing it so much. Plus, it's just fun to get in front of an audience and see the light bulbs kick on.
Yes.
That's the fun part with it. Awesome. So let's talk a bit about the books and where you are with that. So the Do It Marketing was the first one.
Yeah.
Then Do It Speaking was the second one. Do It Selling was the third one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that was the one thing when I saw that you were coming out with a new book again, Marketing Eminence, and I was like, wait a minute, this is not the same as the other ones.
Right. Right.
You've done such a great job with the branding of those three. What was one of the first things as you were coming up with the ideas of this book? Did that cross your mind that you wanted to get away from that branding?
So yes, funny story actually about this. This is a very different kind of book. The Market Eminence book is uh, different. I mean, in size, shape, color,
Hmm.
writing style, intention, everything. So the joke that I make, which is very superficial, the three other books have a white cover.
Hmm.
This one has a black cover, so I call it the black sheep of the family.
I love
It's the
it.
black sheep of the family. But the previous three books, and early on, Market Eminence was called Do It Branding. Do
Okay.
It Branding. So I thought I wanted to stick with this Do It series, which has
Hmm.
been really a fantastic vehicle. And then Market Eminence was in the subtitle. And a friend of mine and I are talking, and he says, so what's the idea behind this Do It Branding book? And I said, well, what I really want to do is I want to popularize and put into the business vernacular this concept of market eminence. And I really want to own this concept of market eminence. And he's looking at me, and it's one of those, you've had conversations like this, Eli, where like
Hmm.
you just said something so thunderously stupid, and someone who loves you and wants the best for you is trying not to say to your face, dude, that is a thunderously stupid idea. So instead of that, he said, I'm sorry, could you repeat the phrase that you want to be known for? And I said, market eminence. He says, I missed it. I'm sorry. Could you say it one more time? I said, market eminence. And he stops and he looks in the camera. And I go, oh my God, I should not call this book Do It Branding. You're saying I should call this book Market Eminence. If I want to be known for this concept of market eminence, the
Yeah.
book's title needs to be that concept. And he goes, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
So
love it.
that set me off on a completely different trajectory with this one than the previous three.
Yeah, that is very cool. Yeah, so I want to talk about the book and what's in it, what you're talking about with it, because it's very different than the other stuff.
Yes.
And I loved what you did with it. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I did pick up the Kindle version of it. It's on the list. It's definitely going to be
Yeah.
in there. But I did listen to recently you did one of your podcasts that was talking about the whole concept behind it. And I
Yes.
did listen to that. It's been a couple of weeks, so I couldn't pull out specifics, but I do know I listened to that and I was just like, okay, this is really good stuff. I cannot wait to read the book now. So let's talk a little bit about what is what is market eminence. Let's talk about what does that really mean
Sure.
because I think a lot of people are not quite going to be sure of that yet.
Yes. Well, and that was also that was the So my friend who said, "Dude, don't be an idiot. That's the name of the book." I had other friends that were like, "No one knows what that means.
Right.
No one it's a
Yeah.
weird phrase and eminence, and, no one wakes up in a cold sweat at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, 'I have a market eminence problem.'"
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to call it that is because the problem that we're solving, or the problem that I set out to solve with this book, is what does it take to get you, your brand, your company, your cause, your purpose, your services? What does it take to get seen, to get known, to get
Right.
recognized in this AI fueled, crazy, noisy world that we're in? And so my answer to that was a three-part formula. The first part is visibility, because no one buys products or services or expertise sight unseen. So
Mhm.
job number one is to get seen by the right people in the right context. Number two is respect. And respect comes from familiarity
Mhm.
and knowing your target markets, heartaches, headaches, challenges, pains, problems, goals, dreams, aspirations, almost better than they know themselves, so
Mhm.
that they get the sense, and what they're saying to themselves is, "Wow, you get me. You really get me. I went to your website. I felt like you wrote that homepage for me." Or I read your latest LinkedIn post. Oh my gosh, I felt like you wrote that LinkedIn post for me. And then the third component is brand preference. So visibility, respect coming from the familiarity. Brand preference is the most fun. That's a combination of differentiation and positioning so that it's risky, dangerous, and dumb to hire anyone other than you.
Okay.
Risky, dangerous, and dumb. So, taken together, those three building blocks I call market eminence.
I love it. And it's really funny as you're going through and explaining that process. The first thing I'm thinking of is this is like the next evolution of know, like, and trust. It really is. I mean, we know that phrase has been around forever,
Yeah,
but a lot of times people don't even really realize what it is, even though they know the words.
right.
But you're taking it to a completely different, much more detailed level, which I think is sadly missing and sadly needed in today's world because let's face it, we all have a ton of competition in what we do as whatever the widget or services that we have.
Right.
There's a billion of people that do what we do, but the difference that really makes us stand out is that not just the branding piece, but like you're saying, market eminence. What is it that makes you unique and stand out differently? What's your story? What's your experience? All that other
Yes,
stuff.
exactly right. And I think I'm going to quote the great business philosopher Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. And one of the quotes that that of his, when he's explaining the success
Mhm.
of the Grateful Dead, he says, "Well, you don't want to be the best of the best. You want to be considered the only ones who do what you do."
Right.
So this whole concept of, we're the best accounting firm, we have the best whatever. Best is, you can't win the game of best.
Right.
What people feel in their heart and soul is different. So when you come across as different, you're not trying to win the best game anymore, which was an unwinnable game, but
Mhm.
you are different, and you are for some people and you are not for other people.
Right.
Right? There's some very distinctive things that you say and do and stand for and stand against that will very powerfully magnetize the best fits and will very powerfully repel the bad fits. And I want to use another example that I think might help folks internalize this. This was a quote from an artist, abstract expressionist back in the 1930s. And abstract expressionism, by the way, is like Picasso and Jackson Pollock and all of these kind of modern abstract artists. In the 1930s, by the way, not admired, not commonly respected. They're like, this is
Yep.
weird. What the hell's going on? One of these artists, and I wish I knew who it was. If someone knows, please let Eli know and he'll pass it on to me. He said, "When you look at my art, I want you to be either repulsed or exhilarated." And I love that quote so much. I want you to be either repulsed, like it's totally not for you, like, oh God, this is
Right.
terrible. I hate this guy. or exhilarated. Like, this is amazing. This is fantastic. This is the greatest piece of art I've ever seen in my life. So that artist knew that mediocrity and blending in and vanilla was equivalent to death. That neutral, take it or leave it kind of positioning, all the other artists were take it or leave it. He wanted you to be repulsed or exhilarated. And I love that
Yeah.
so much.
I love it. You know, it's funny that you bring that up because I know how much people think about that, and for me, that the concept in itself has always kind of rubbed me wrong over the fact that you have to be polarizing with people.
Yes.
But for me, I've also found that in today's world, there's so many people that are polarizing. Like I stand out as like I'm the guy that's not going to be a for or against. I'm the guy that's going to make you feel comfortable where you're at to come just hang out, have a good conversation,
Yeah.
which right now is the polarizing effect, like in a totally different way.
Yes.
And which is great for me because I'm like, okay, right now everybody else is like fighting with amongst each other. I can be the guy who's like, no, I'm just the laid back hippie. It's all good. We're gonna have a good
Right.
conversation. And it works out well, but it is just a different way of the same thing, which I love.
Yeah.
Very cool. So the book has all these prompts and stuff in it. And like as we're going to go through and start thinking about this stuff, how do we stand out differently in today's world? Because
Yes.
again, bazillion and one different people. What are some of the things we need to be sitting down and starting with to get us started on going down that path of creating our own eminence?
Sure. So I think, and by the way, this is where I get a lot of pushback, right? Everyone says, "Oh, this sounds great. Yeah, this is amazing." And I was like, "Wait a second. We got to be polarizing. We got to be a little bit divisive. We got to stir the pot. We got to make waves, rock the boat, whatever metaphor you want to use."
Hmm.
And the answer is yes. So to take the first couple of baby steps, I want to give people a little bit of a recipe to start thinking about how this might play out in your world or in your business. So, the first thing that you can do, and this is early on in the Market Eminence book, there's a detailed exercise about this, but I'll share the essence of it right now. It's called Building Your Contrarian Slant. And I'm going to give you 3 questions to prompt your thinking about this. And then just grab a piece of paper, notebook, scrap paper, whatever you have. Just start writing down some short words, key phrases, bullets, what have you. Question number 1. What conventional wisdom in your field do you secretly think is completely wrong, but you've never publicly challenged? And that is one doorway into what's right with the world, what's wrong with the world, etc. Second question. What harsh truth about your industry are clients desperate for someone to finally acknowledge openly? Eli, I call this one the elephant in the room question.
Yep.
Like, what does everyone know? What's one of those unmentionables, one of those unspoken, got to keep that in the closet, got to sweep that under the rug? What are some of those unspoken, harsh truths, inconvenient truths, if you will, that make, it would make people go, oh my God, they said that out loud. They used their outdoor voice, not their, in the head voice.
Yep.
And then question number 3 is, what strong point of view do you already hold? So you're not reaching for this. It's not a gimmick. It's not a PR stunt, but it's genuinely a strong point of view that you already hold that would make industry insiders uncomfortable, but resonates deeply with your ideal clients. Now, I'll
Hmm.
tell you where to go hunting and fishing for these. If you're an agency, you're a consulting firm, you're, whatever business you're running, you are probably not the first rodeo that your clients and customers have tried. When they come to you, what do they complain about? What do they say? Oh my gosh, I just wasted all this money. Eli, I'm so glad I found you. Thank goodness. I can't wait to start because the previous company did this, or the previous company did not do that, or the previous company was completely negligent in this area or completely misguided in that area. So you have all of these war stories, all of these battle scars that your clients and prospects have come to you with. What is a kind of missing, funky, broken, and sad in your industry that your customers and clients are telling you about? And they
Yeah.
say, the reason I'm hiring you, the reason I'm coming in to work with you is because you don't do that, or you don't stand for that, or
Yeah.
this is not something that, based on everything I've seen, you are better than that. So those are the three key questions to start developing your contrarian slant. And then the bravery step on that, Eli, is your very next LinkedIn post, your very next sales conversation, your very next Substack newsletter that goes out. Put some of that thinking into that conversation or that post or that newsletter and watch what happens. Watch how people react to your contrarian slant and your radical truth telling.
Wonderful stuff. And as you were describing the third one specifically, I'm sitting here thinking about like what's happened and how my own business has evolved and where some things have happened. Like more recently, for years, one of the things I've always put a lot of stuff about, like my core values are kindness and respect. And I've put stuff out there on it. And that's the stuff that's always stood out, but that's not my business per se.
Right.
But then as I started injecting more of those core values into my conversations about the email marketing stuff, which
Yeah.
is my business, I'm getting more people that are like, you know what? I really want to talk to you because I like the way you're doing this because you're not making me feel salesy or, I don't like the internet marketing stuff. I hate all those pitchy emails that I get. And I'm like, yeah, well, then we don't need to send that kind of stuff. We shouldn't send that kind of stuff.
Right.
Your business is all relationship based. You should be talking, having conversations about the relationship, not what's the greatest sale on earth that you're doing right now.
That's right.
And they're like, see, this is why I want to work with you. And I've had people come to me, they're like, okay, tell me really what it is you really do and what it's like. Cause I just know I need to work with you. And
Yeah.
that goes back to that piece. That's exactly what it
Yes.
is you're putting what are the things that they don't like? What are the things that they've already had those bad experiences with? And when you can do that right, which that's where I'm very lucky in the fact that I was doing it subconsciously and then I started being aware of it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why this works. And it is because they're sitting there going, okay, I didn't like these past 10 people that were telling me all the things I needed to do, but what this guy's doing makes sense and I feel comfortable with that. I think I
Yes.
want to talk to him. Yeah.
Totally. Well, and even in the early part of the Market Eminence book, one of the big pull quotes that I have in big bold type is, if you are ready to grow your business by being more of who you are, then
Mhm.
you're in the right place, right? So this is not a lot of, and the reason that I moved away from this whole do it branding is it would be like personal branding kind of concept.
Mhm.
Personal branding to me, I think, is totally broken, totally mishugana, crazy, misaligned, because a lot of the personal branding advice is putting things on top, right?
Right.
Window dressing, set dressing. It's like putting on a badly fitting suit of clothing. Whereas market eminence is the opposite. Market eminence is uncovering what is genuinely there, what has always been there, and amplifying and magnifying that so
Right.
that you're more authentic, you're more transparent, you're more relatable. It is not a putting on process, it's actually a revealing, right?
Right.
It's a revealing process. It is a much more authentic and aligned with who you really are. And the
Yeah.
reason that we have nightmare clients from hell, the reason we have terrible employees is because you were faking it, right?
Right.
You were putting on a front and people had some inaccurate picture of who you are. And so they're like, oh, yeah, we'll definitely hire this company. Oh, I definitely want to come work there. And if you had been your authentic, vulnerable, transparent self, you would have never hired them. And guess what? They would have never wanted to come work for you, or
Right.
that prospect would have bought from somebody else. But because we worked so hard at covering all of that up and trying to be a generalist and hedging our bets and appealing to as wide an audience as possible, that's where you get all those bad fits coming in.
Yeah, and I totally see that because I have a quote that I say quite often to people is like if you're trying to be authentic, you're probably doing it wrong.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
Yeah. And the reality is that we see what other people are doing. We have marketing companies are telling us all the stuff we need to do,
Yeah.
but we're losing ourselves in that process
Yes.
When at the end of the day, you can use the tools, you can use the medium that are out there, but you still need to be yourself. You need to be your true authentic self. And
Yep.
if you're trying, you're not doing it the right way because you
That's
shouldn't
right.
have to try.
That's right.
I
It
love it.
should be easy, effortless, and enjoyable to be more of who you are.
Exactly. And that's the part that makes it is that's so fun with it is because then when you do that, all of a sudden things get easy.
Yeah.
You get those clients that are just a blast to work with. Like I've got a client I'm working with right now. He has been phenomenal. And the whole reason is because he met me while I was speaking at a group and he just gelled with me. He's like, I love the stuff you're saying. Some of the stuff I say is contrarian. Some of it is more relaxed. It's much more like, yeah, you don't need to do all that other garbage. Just do this. It's much
Right.
easier, much more you. And he was like, this resonates with me. I want to work with you. I'm like, okay. And he's been a phenomenal client to work with.
Yeah.
And I think that we attract the right people when we start doing that because they're seeing us for who we really are,
Yeah.
and at the same time, we're not trying. You don't have to try. You just be yourself.
That's right.
I love it. That is awesome. Well, this is cool stuff. Anything else related to the book? I mean, we're going to talk about how to get it and everything, but anything else that you want to share? Last bits of wisdom before we kind of start wrapping things up with it.
Sure. So I would say that the best kind of messaging and positioning and differentiation is when people uh, really resonate with it or really don't.
Hmm.
So I'm going to go back to another Jerry Garcia quote where he says, the Grateful Dead is a lot like licorice. That many people don't like licorice. They just don't like it. It's like, ugh, it tastes like soap. I always take the black jelly beans out of the bowl. Do not like licorice. That's fair. But the people who do like licorice, man, they like it a lot. They
Hmm.
collect licorice. They get the Swedish licorice, the Finnish licorice, the German licorice, the French licorice. They collect licorice. They go to licorice conventions. They read the licorice magazines.
Yep.
They are licorice fanatics. And he says, we're like licorice. A lot of people don't like us, but the ones that like us a lot.
Yep.
And that is a power position. That is another great definition of market eminence.
Yes, I think I've heard that one before, and I love the concept behind it. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking, yeah, my mom's a black licorice person, and she is crazy about it. And I'm like,
Yes.
I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
There you go.
This has been awesome, my friend. So as we're wrapping up here, couple last questions. I will give you on air complete credit for this concept because you do this on your own show. Use like the last two questions. The last one's the easy one. How do you people get a hold of you?
Yeah.
But before that, this is the Meet Cool People show, and I love to ask my guests, what do the words "meet cool people" mean to you?
I think meet cool people is about meeting people that are completely comfortable in their own skin. Now, that doesn't mean they think like you. That doesn't mean they look like you. That doesn't mean they act like you. So it's sort of it's a very eclectic collection of people, right? Different backgrounds, different values, different professions, different experiences. But I think seeking out different people who have all of those differences that I just mentioned will totally enrich your life and totally enrich your business. And so to me, meeting cool people is a way to keep your life interesting forever.
I love it. That is awesome. I don't think anybody has described it like that before. Thank you so much. Very cool. Okay. So, last thing with that, obviously, how can people get a hold of you and obviously share the link to the book as well because we want to make sure we have
Sure.
both of those.
Absolutely. So there's a ton of free downloads, resources, companion tools, videos at marketeminence.com. Tell you what, you can either buy the book or not buy the book, and you can still get the bonuses and downloads. So if you go to marketeminence.com, just pop your information into there, and all of the goodies will come in an email. Worksheets, AI prompts, training videos, all kinds of things related to the ideas that Eli and I just talked about. To get in touch with me in general for things like speaking or consulting or any other way that I can be helpful to you, the main website is doitmarketing.com. And of course, there's a books page, and one of the books you'll see there is Market Eminence. The other 3 books that Eli very generously mentioned are there as well. Podcast is there, blog is there. But for the purposes of what we talked about today, it's marketeminence.com to get all the freebies and downloads.
Awesome. Love it, my friend. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me today. We need to make sure we do this way more than just getting on a podcast every couple, 4 years, because it is always a pleasure to talk with you. You always have great information. For everybody listening, seriously, just go buy all 4 books. Don't even hesitate. Just go add them to your cart right now. I can tell you, you will not regret it, because every one of them is phenomenal. I have already read the first 3 of them. I have not read the 4th one yet, just because I haven't had a chance to do it yet. And I got a stack 10 books high on my list. But I can personally recommend all 3 of the other ones. David and I have known each other for a long time, and I have been a big fan of all of his work. So that is my 2 cents for you guys. David, again, thank you so much for hanging out today, man.
Eli, so great to be here. Thank you.
All right. Everybody else, get out there. Have an amazing week. As always, if there's anything I can do to help you out, reach out. Let me know. Take care. And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. Now, if you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to convertmoreclientsnow.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to convertmoreclientsnow.com and see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rock star.